live and coming to you here from Ollie's Beer and Records in Cape Coral, here for a Democrat and a Republican walk into a bar. And I am your Democrat host, Dr. Cindy Banyai, along with
your Republican host, Sean Hartman.
And I want to encourage everybody to get in and have dialogues and prove that it's okay to talk with your neighbors and friends, even if they don't agree with you on everything all the time.
No, and then there are areas where we agree, and there are a lot of areas where we disagree. We have a lot of issues to talk about, and I'm just, again, this is why I like coming here each week, having these discussions, and just making sure that we have these conversations and people know what's going on, and that we can show what it's like to have these type of discussions.
What I was very concerned about today was the chair of the Florida Republican Party, so this is the Republican Party for the state of Florida, Christian Zeigler, posted a post saying that
the work is not done until there are no more Democrats in Florida. That's the tweet. And then if you even go onto his personal page, it says goal equals 0 Democrats in office. So you're concerned about that.
Yeah, I'm very concerned. I'm concerned about that because we're not enemies. Democrats and Republicans are parties of people in this country that coalesce around certain values and principles that they want to see their country pursue. And I have never, and I will go on record as saying this, I have never heard any Democrat say or put in writing something that said we need to eliminate all Republicans. I've never heard this, okay? In fact, I will say as a matter of recourse and a matter of protocol, Democrats are very cognizant to separate when they talk about Republican officials or Republican candidates versus Republican people or people who vote Republican, okay? We don't walk up and down the street saying, hey, we hate all Republicans as people. So that's the difference here. And I know that you're probably going to disagree, but I can tell you from behind the scenes as a candidate, that is something that we are very cognizant of. And so I was very worried that on this series of tweets, and not only that, but the chair Zeigler thought it was big enough deal. People were retweeting this and making comments on that. And he's reveling. He thinks this is great, that this is owning the libs or whatever. Yeah. So he put in his Twitter bio that he wants to have 0 Democrats in office. I understand not wanting to elect the opponent party. I get that. But even like the Democratic Party of Florida, that their goal is not 0 Republicans in office. Maybe that's our problem.
You're not ambitious enough.
We're not ambitious enough, I guess. So the other thing I will say that really worried me, and I believe if you look at the tweet that I made about it, is that I said that this is not only stepping us towards autocracy, which is one party rule, which honestly is exactly what eliminating all Democrats from office means. That is autocracy.
Absolutely.
That is authoritarian. And then using increasingly violent and state-based violence to make that theocracy a component, right? So this is very concerning. It should concern everybody. And to note, not only is Chair Zeigler involved in the Republican Party, but his wife, Brittany Zeigler, is the founder of Moms for Liberty. Moms for Liberty, of course, being the extreme organization across the state of Florida and the country that is involved with the book bans and extreme politics that we're finding at the school board. That is very much based in Christian fundamentalism and ties right into everything that I just said. So really is trying to make a state in Florida from top to bottom, the Zeigler couple, with no Democrats and focus on Christian extremism itself. So it has got me up in arms. It lays bare some of the worst fears that Democrats have said. And I frankly think it's really inappropriate for him to be doing this.
So I have a lot to say. Moms for Liberty, I guess you can bring up, and because of the stuff that they're doing, that sure. Okay. The other thing though is, and I read this more hyperbolic than actually something serious. Look, as if you're running a party, obviously, like I said, if you're not trying to defeat all of us, you're not ambitious enough. Now, I think again, so I'm looking at this more as hyperbolic than as some sort of call to political repression. With that being said, though,
hyperbolic, like in the way that January 6th and the attack on
No, January 6th, this has nothing to do with January 6th.
No,
And
I know,
January
but I'm saying because everybody thought that wasn't true too. Oh, we're not going to do that. We're not going to attack the U.S. Well, that's just crazy.
Oh, yeah.
That's just hyperbole. That's not really going to happen.
But again, even when I'm looking at what he's saying, he's not. What I'm hearing here, what I'm reading here, is that they're trying to win by use of democratic means, by means of converting voters. This is all in context of flipping Liberty County. So what I read as is what he's trying to do is recruit so many Republican voters that there's no more Democrats in office because everywhere's voting Republican. It's, I would say, a nearly impossible goal. And I would agree with you in the sense that, again,
the work is not done until there are no more Democrats. So this is not just one county, and this is not just people in office. And that's what's different. So the thing that really worries me, okay, great. Yeah, I love it. Okay, he wants a GOTV. He wants to do voter registration. And I know that's how he put this. I do not feel that.
And
I do not feel that because every single day I am called out for being a Democrat. People say nasty things to my face. They say horrible things about Democrats. We're Satan worshipers. We're baby killers. We're all these things. And at some point, hyperbole and language matters beyond just what a tweet.
And I agree. And this is where I will agree with you because you're absolutely right. And again, one of the reasons we formed this podcast is because my side sees you as the enemy, and your side sees us as the enemy. And we have.
No, let me correct that. My father, who's a Republican, said that he wished I wasn't running for the Senate. I have never once called anybody who was in the Republican Party my enemy. My father has been so thoroughly brainwashed by GOP propaganda and Fox News and Tucker Carlson and Dan Bongino, who he listens to until he got fired, and on the radio,
we can talk about
every
that
single day. Okay, to the extent that he was willing to say to his own daughter that I am running for the enemy. Yeah, that's a horrifying thing.
No, and I agree with you, but I definitely disagree with you that, and maybe yes, you and I are in many ways the exception, and there are, I assume, just as there are many Republicans who aren't that oppositional to Democrats, there are many Democrats who are not that oppositional to Republicans, but there are people on the left, I would say probably more broadly than, who do feel this aggressive hatred towards Republicans for a lot of reasons.
That's contrived actually by the right.
What do you mean contrived?
That is right-wing radio and media fodder. Frankly speaking, because listen to this. Like, how can you call the Democrats snowflakes in one breath and then say that they're these Satanist, baby-killing, horrible people that hate everybody on the other? That is like the cognitive dissonance that exists in the narrative that Republicans have about Democrats. And this is the thing. That is because Democrats don't really work like that. Democrats do not run out and cause all this stuff in the same way that they're being portrayed by the right-wing media. It just simply doesn't happen. And I will actually do this. I'll challenge everybody here. You can find me a quote from any Democratic Party chair of a state saying that they want to eliminate all of the other parties. Send it to me. I will challenge that right now.
And again, and I will say, and I've said before on this podcast that we absolutely should not be trying to eliminate the other side. This is what happened when Blaise Ngolia was bringing up his bill, and that's where I thought was a more serious situation because that was trying to be implementing a policy.
How is that not related to this?
It could be.
How is that not an extension of this rhetoric that is against the opposition party, that is characterizing the opposition party in a way that could literally lead to not only just a one-party state, because that's like actually the best case scenario at this point. How can this not be a stepping stone towards the continued dehumanization and political violence against the left?
Again, I don't see it as
we had a bill go through the Florida legislature that sought to eliminate the party itself. We have the Florida GOP chair a few months later saying that his goal is to work until no more Democrats are in Florida. What does that mean? So this is what I'm saying. This is not just, oh, cute, hyperbolic, we're campaigning and getting out the vote. That's not what this is. This is beyond that, and this is why I'm very concerned about it. Because, and I've said this with so many folks, I have friends who are in the middle, who are MPA. I've worked for Republicans in this state and others. I'm part of an organization right now that is working with local Democrats. And I frankly don't know what that means anymore. And I don't think it's limited to GOTV and voter registration.
So what I will say is that I agree that we shouldn't be dehumanizing any member of any party, including the Democrats. It is the reason, again, we formed this podcast. I don't read it in the way that you are, but I can understand why you're reading it in the way that you are. All right. These type of things affect you. And again, and even though you may disagree with me, there are instances where Democrats attack Republicans as well. And so in general, polarization on both sides needs to be toned down. But yes, I can understand and I needs to be out there that no party is trying to eliminate the other or politically repress the other. That should be off the table. We should be focused on fighting for our values and winning based on our values. And I think that is where we do agree on. And if this is more of what he's saying, zero Democrats in office, I could be somewhat more supportive of that in a sense that we are trying to win all those offices, even though I don't think it's possible. But again, I don't if you
And
if
that's
he
fine. Run
yeah,
candidates. That's
but yes, if there is I have now come to terms with the fact that the slippery slope can sometimes actually be a slippery slope. So I'm not going to just go out there and say, "Oh, this will never happen," when, stranger things have occurred. No one would have thought our government would have ever been locked down 2, 3 years ago, okay? These type of things, you never know what's going to happen, and this is why we always have to be vigilant of a powerful and overreaching government. And if a
exactly.
government has the ability to eliminate a political party, that it should be concerning. And I will agree with you there that we should not let it come to that.
Okay, good. I think that we can agree on that. I do. 'Cause I honestly believe in a healthy and thriving democracy that we need different perspectives and views because that's how we get better. We understand what's going on from somebody else's perspective. And I
Mm.
do not think that it's good for people or good for communities to have authoritarian rule, to have a one party rule.
Neither do I. Nope.
Whether it's Republicans or Democrats, I don't care because this is not voted well. You really need to have fair election. This is actually why one of the things that I'm in favor for, as opposed to gerrymandering, because that's something that I talk about a lot, is Republicans and Democrats, gerrymander, blah, blah, blah. But what I want to see, I would love to see fairer and more competitive districts. I do. I think that's one of the only ways that we're going to get out of this. That's how we can actually get people to dialogue about issues that are more important.
I agree.
And instead of just having it be one party win all, because then the worst elements, and frankly, the worst elements of people, not even just of the party. There are people who are just self-centered assholes who want to get power, and they'll take whatever avenue.
And exactly. And they understand that it's a performance, and that's why some of the worst get elected. And it's the people with the most connections and whoever's connected within the party. I absolutely agree with you on this one. It's one of the things that I don't like about Lee County is even though I am a Republican and I want us to win, I don't want us to walk away with it. And it's why like when we first started actually meeting with each other was actually because I think it was 4 years ago, the Democrats ran a Democrat in every legislative seat.
Right.
And I got super excited because I thought, okay, we're finally going to have competition, a race. Obviously, there's people don't debate, people don't even acknowledge that the other Democrats are running.
Right.
But I think that it's important that we compete and we have these discussions. Even with your first race with Byron, you had a debate,
Right.
and I was very happy that he did that because most people wouldn't do that. I'm
Right.
sure he was advised not to do that.
Francis Rooney did it. That was one of my biggest critiques of him. He didn't debate. He didn't do town halls.
Oh no, never. He did when he first ran for Congress. I actually moderated one of the only debates that he was at. It was like two or three debates that he ended up doing when he was running the first time. Afterwards, he could. I didn't even know he existed. He was just not. He was a non-existent factor. But I absolutely agree. I think that we are a better country when we are in a healthy competition. It's like